I was tidying the living room when I found my husband's vاسкраسк on the couch. Inside, there was a gold-wrapped gift with a card. I opened it, to Melissa, the woman who makes my heart race. Forever yours, Ryan. That night, I set the gift on the kitchen table, waiting for him to walk in. When he did, I asked, Melissa must be very special. Want to tell me who she is? His face drained of color instantly. It was one of those quiet evenings when the house felt like it was holding its breath, the warm light of the sunset spilling lazily across the living room. I moved around, picking up stray magazines, folding the throw blanket, trying to put the day back into some kind of order. That's when I saw it. Ryan's backpack tossed carelessly on the couch. Normally I'd leave it alone, but he'd mentioned earlier that he needed some papers from it. Without thinking much of it, I unzipped it. The first thing I saw wasn't paperwork. It was a gift, beautifully wrapped in shimmering gold paper, a satin ribbon tied with perfect precision. My fingers hovered over it, the texture cool and smooth under my touch, and for some reason my chest tightened. There was a small envelope tucked neatly under the ribbon. Something about the way it was placed felt deliberate. I slid my finger under the flap and pulled out the card. The handwriting was Ryan's. I'd know it anywhere, but the words weren't for me, to Melissa, the woman who makes my heart race forever. Yours, Ryan. My breath caught. The room seemed to shift. The air heavier. Sound distant. My hands clenched around the card until my knuckles turned white. Melissa, her name burned into me like a brand. In that moment, something in me hardened, sharp and unshakable. I stood there, card in hand, my pulse thudding in my ears for a split second. My mind tried to spin it into something harmless, a joke between friends, a work gag gift, but the words were too intimate, too deliberate. Forever. Yours wasn't casual, it wasn't innocent. It was a confession wrapped in ribbon and gold paper. I felt heat rising from my chest to my face, the kind that comes from anger so deep it leaves no room for tears. The room suddenly felt smaller. The walls closer, like they were holding me in place. I set the card down on the coffee table and just stared at the gift. This wasn't some careless slip. He'd planned it, shopped for it, wrapped it, written this note, all while coming home to me every night like nothing had changed. My thoughts started racing, tripping over each other, each one sharper than the last. I picked the card up again, reading the words over and over until they stopped feeling like ink and started feeling like proof, solid, undeniable. I could almost see him writing it the way he leans forward, his tongue pressing lightly to the corner of his mouth in concentration, except this time, his care wasn't for me, and that, more than the words, made my stomach turn. I sat down on the edge of the couch, the gift still in front of me, the card burning in my hand. My fingers ached from gripping it so tightly, but I didn't loosen my hold. Every detail of that package felt like a betrayal, the careful bow, the crisp folds in the paper, the deliberate choice of gold, as if Melissa deserved something extraordinary. I imagined her smile when she opened it, and the image made my jaw clench. There was no question in my mind about what I had to do. I wasn't going to wait. Wasn't going to play the part of the woman who quietly swallows her humiliation. He would walk through that door tonight, and he would see me sitting right here waiting for him with his gift laid out like evidence in a trial, no yelling, no screaming, just the truth staring him in the face. I placed the gift and the card neatly on the kitchen table, positioning them so they would be the first thing he saw. Then I sat down. My heart steady. Now my decision made. If he thought this was going to stay hidden, he was about to learn otherwise. I heard the sound of his key in the lock before I saw him, that familiar click, the creak of the door opening, the shuffle of his shoes on the mat. Hey, babe. He called, his voice light, almost sing-song. When he stepped into the kitchen, he was smiling, the easy, comfortable smile of a man who thinks the world is still exactly as he left it. I didn't smile back. I simply gestured toward the table where the gift and card sat under the overhead light like they were on display. Melissa must be very special. I said evenly, my voice calm, but laced with something sharper. Want to tell me who she is? His smile faltered, just a flicker at first, then collapsed entirely. He blinked, glanced at the gift, then back at me. Oh, that's for a co-worker's birthday. He said the words tumbling out too fast, too practiced. His hand twitched toward the box like he might hide it, but I didn't move. I just watched him, watch the panic bloom in his eyes. I reached for the card. Hold it delicately between my fingers, like it was something fragile, though we both knew it was anything. But without breaking eye contact, I read it aloud, word for word, to Melissa, the woman who makes my heart race forever. Yours, Ryan. I didn't rush. I let each word hang in the air long enough for it to sting. His face went pale, his lips parted, but no sound came out at first. Then he laughed, a short, nervous chuckle that died almost instantly. Clara, it's not what you think. He stammered, his voice cracking around the edges. He looked like a man scrambling for a story, grasping at excuses before the truth could crush him completely. I leaned back in my chair, studying him like I was seeing him for the first time. The man standing in front of me wasn't the man I'd married, not because of what he'd done, but because of how easily he could stand there and try to feed me lies. That was the moment. I knew he wasn't going to talk his way out of this. He shifted his weight from one foot to the other. His hands moving restlessly, first on the back of a chair, then through his hair, then shoving into his pockets like he could hide the guilt there. It's complicated. He finally muttered, eyes darting anywhere but mine. The air between us was thick, heavy, almost humming with the truth. He didn't want to say. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't slam my fists or throw accusations. Instead, I tilted my head slightly, letting silence do the work. It's amazing what people will say, when you give them enough space to feel the weight of their own lies. His jaw clenched, his shoulders tensed, and I knew he was close to breaking. I kept my gaze fixed on him, unwavering, like a hand pressing down on a wound, and then almost like he couldn't hold it in any longer. I saw it in his eyes the moment the dam would burst and every secret he'd been hiding would come spilling out. It came out in fragments. At first half-formed sentences, words tripping over each other. Melissa's, she's, we work together. He mumbled like that might soften the blow, then, as if saying it quickly would make it less real, he blurted, we've been seeing each other. It's just physical. Just physical. 2 words meant to minimize what he'd done, like stripping it of emotion made it harmless.